Hello friends, and welcome back to my crafty space where I share my memory keeping projects and processes with all of you. If this is your first time here, hello and welcome. My name is Crystal and I am super excited that you are all here today. Today we are jumping into another story project for my story album, and this one is going to go into my daughter Isabella's album. So I am using the newest story kit from Ali Edwards, the Progress Story Kit, and I am going to tell a story about her learning how to ride her bike. So I have two photos that I've printed out to use this week. This one is Izzy when like a couple weeks ago, and this is from her 2 years ago. So I've got 2 years and now. I have already gone ahead and typed out my journaling and printed it on my journaling cards. If you guys are interested in learning how to do this, I do have a tutorial that explains my process, and I will link that up at the eye for you guys just in case you want to go check that out. So let's go ahead and jump in. Right now in our house, it is quiet time. So I'm hoping that I can actually talk you guys through my process instead of having to voice over it this time. I'll tell you what, it makes editing videos so much easier when you just voice them over. Or not when you voice them over, when you just chat instead of voiceover. So, here is my design that I'm going with this week. So I've got the two 3x8 photos, which these are actually slightly less than 3x8 because when I cropped them to 3x8, it cut off too much of the sides. So I decided to make them a little bit shorter. And then I took a digital card. No, it wasn't a card. It was an embellishment, a digital chipboard piece. And I created this top border for these photos. So these photos are actually going to have this at the top of them, kind of like that, in order to make them a full 3x8. So anyway, those are going to go on the two ends, and then in the middle I'm going to have the 4 journaling cards. So because there's not a page protector that is in this configuration, I first kind of played with the idea of making my own using the fuse tool, of making a 3x8 section and a 3x8 section, which I might still do that. Actually, now that I'm thinking about this, I'm going to do that because it might be fun to have 2 3x8 pockets to play with later. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to run over to my craft cabinet and grab out my fuse tool so I can go ahead and get that heated up, and then I will be back to actually assemble this. I'll be back to assemble this. So let me go do that real quick. All right, you guys, so I am back and I've got that fuse tool heating up over on the left-hand side, and I decided to just go ahead and voice the rest of this thing over, mostly because I am really, really out of practice on chatty videos, and I feel like half of the video went by and I didn't say anything, so in the effort to not bore you guys to tears, I decided to just go ahead and voice over the rest. So what I'm doing right now is I'm cutting 4 strips of cardstock to 3 inches by 8 inches. So these are going to become basically the canvas, right, that I'm going to be taping the rest of my stuff to. That way I know it's all at the right sizes. So when I was first conceptualizing the idea of this page, I had thought that I would take a page protector, just a regular 6x8 full page protector, and to fuse the pockets on the edges for those full page photos. And then I was thinking that I would do 2 3x4 pockets, like fuse across the middle of those 3x4 cards, in order to create pockets for those. And the reason I didn't was because if I fused in the middle of them, those cards would be stuck in there and there's nothing on the back side. So then I was like, well, I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to tape all of it to a 6x8 piece of cardstock and work with that instead. And it wasn't until I started actually filming that I was like, wait a second, I could still do the 3x8 pockets and then use that for later. So that's how we got to this. So once I have all the cardstock done and laid out, the next thing I'm going to do is adhere down all of my photos and cards and all of that stuff onto these pieces. So for the photos, the first thing I did was to adhere down the stripe for the top portion, and then I could put the photo on top of that. I did leave a section of the white below the strip, the like striped strip, just because I wasn't sure where on that the photo would come to. So, I mean, it works out that it comes to like basically perfectly in line. I don't remember if I designed it that way in Photoshop or not, or if I just went for it. I'm not totally sure, but it worked to keep a little bit of extra just in case to give me some leeway. And I did print that on photo paper. So I chose photo paper so that it would be nice and saturated for the color. So next I adhered down the journaling cards onto the next one, and I just, taped them so that they are touching each other. Now with Allie's cards, they tend to be slightly under 3 inches wide. They're a true 4 inches tall, but I want to say they're like 2.9 something inches wide. Like they're just under, which is perfect because in the Project Life, I think I used Design A page protectors, the 3x4 spots tend to be a little tight. So it's good that she makes them slightly smaller because they fit perfectly in there. But when I adhered them down onto my 3x8 cardstock, there was a little bit of the edge left over. So I do trim that off, and you'll see me do it on the second one there too. And because I trimmed the Story Continues card myself, I just took off 1.5 inches on both sides, and that brought that down to a 3x4, but I trimmed it to a true 3x4, which you'll see right here. And the one above it will be not a true 3x4. So I adhere it in the middle, which I probably shouldn't have done. I probably should have just picked a side and adhered it there. It would have made this a little bit easier. And then I thought that I could just trim off the white portions. And you'll see here that I was like, well, maybe I can just go ahead and slice off the sides. But then I thought it might be a little too complicated for my trimmer to get all at once. So I decided to trim off the white portions, and then it bothered me, of course, that they weren't perfectly the same size. So I'll pull the trimmer back over and take off a little extra portion on the pink card down there just to even everything up. And I like it much better. I just wish I would have trimmed that pink card either to the right size at the beginning, or if I would have just put the green card to one side, I could have trimmed off only one side of The Story Continues, which probably should have been closer to the T just to get that in the middle, but oh well, it's okay. We live with it. Last, all I have left to do is embellish. So I purchased the fabric heart stickers, which I love. So I picked a blue one to kind of bring the blue from the opposite side down. It helps draw your eye in kind of a diagonal there. And then I had the two, what are those, like tab stickers. And one of them says practice, which is the pink one on Izzy as a 3-year-old. And the other one says progress, and that's the one that I put on her now. So like practice makes progress. And that, you guys, is going to finish up this one. So last but not least, what I'm going to do is show you guys how I fused the pockets. So I have these 6x8 page protectors. I get mine from Allie Edwards. I just like those ones the best. I have my fuse tool all heated up, and then I'm just going to use like a stack of regular old copy paper to put underneath it just so it doesn't, I don't know if it would harm my self-healing mat or not. So I put my picture in, I made sure that it was all the way over to the edge, and then I am going to fuse not directly next to the photo. I leave like, I don't know, a millimeter of space so that I can still pull that card out or in, and I can put another card in on the back side at a later point in time. So I just kind of, with my fuse tool, I just lightly press into the plastic. I like to do it twice on one side and once on the opposite side, just so that I know it's super duper like stuck together, that seam, and I don't have to worry about it ripping apart. But you don't want to, when you use the fuse tool, you don't want to like lag too much. Like you want to keep your speed of fusing fairly quick, so that you don't melt the plastic too much and end up with a big gaping hole in the plastic. So I guess that's my advice. And then for me, I need to get myself like a longer metal ruler, because that was kind of annoying too, to have to, fuse a section and then move my ruler and fuse the rest of it. So that is definitely going on my next shopping list, because that would make things easier. So that does it. I'm going to stick this in and then we will slow back down. All right, you guys, so this turned out really awesome. I am super glad that I decided to try fusing these pages to make the 2 3x8 sections in here. I think that will be really fun to challenge myself with for the next couple of spreads here. It turned out perfect. I love this story. It's a fairly simple page, but I love simple pages. Like, it just goes to show that there is nothing wrong with doing something super labor intensive and having a really interactive page. There's also nothing wrong with having a simple one. For me, what's important is getting the stories told. So super excited to have this story told. If you guys enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up down below, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you can see all of my future crafty videos as well. Until next time, I hope you guys have a fantastic day, and I will catch you all in the next video. Bye now.